Hello, Ariel Ginga here from Atlanta Public Speaking, and I'd like to welcome you to this very special training called How to Monetize Your Speaking. I've created this 4-part training series as a resource to help answer 4 specific questions. Number 1, how can I finally get rid of my public speaking fear once and for all? I'm going to show you a unique mind mapping system that's going to allow you to speak from the heart with confidence and with conviction every single time. And the best part about it is you can ditch the notes because you won't need them. The second question is, how do I get booked as a speaker? Whether you want to create your own live speaking events, your own workshops or seminars, or maybe you want to go out there and speak on somebody else's stage, I'm going to show you how to apply both of those tools so that you can be out there speaking to a live audience consistently and not just every once in a blue moon when you get that special gig and you kind of got lucky, if you're truly honest. The third question is, how do I monetize my speaking? Now that I'm out there speaking to a live audience, you've shown me the inbound speaking, the outbound speaking, you helped me to overcome the jitters. The third question is, Ariel, can you show me the money? And the answer is absolutely we can and we will. In this training, in this 3rd module, you're going to learn exactly how to create your very own digital product, even if all you have right now is a shoestring budget to work with. So stay tuned. I really think you're going to get a lot out of that. And then the 4th question is, how can I join a mastermind group if I want a little more added training or support so that I'm not doing all of this all by myself? So I'm going to create a special invitation for you to do that if you feel like that's what you need right now at your stage of progression. Now, before we get started, you're probably wondering, okay, why should I listen to you in the first place? And that's a good question. Why did I earn the right to speak about public speaking? So again, my name is Ariel and I'm the founder of Atlanta Public Speaking. I started this organization in 2011, right at the end of 2011. And for me, the reason I started it, you probably heard this saying before, your mess becomes your message, or necessity is the mother of all invention. That's how it was for me. Originally, I'm from Romania. I moved here in America in 1983. And in 1983, it wasn't like the movie, Coming to America. Hey, let's just go to America. It wasn't like that. Romania was a communist country. My father had undergone a 35-day grueling hunger strike in order for us to be here in America. So I don't take it for granted. And I hope that you don't either, if you're watching this in America, of course. So in 1983, the first thing I saw on American TV was a game between the Atlanta Hawks and the Chicago Bulls. I came here to America when Michael Jordan was a rookie. And I instantly fell in love with basketball. Basketball was my outlet. All throughout high school, I was the kid that would wear the Bulls jersey and the Nike Air shoes, the Jordans. And I would skip my lunch hour. I would go straight to the library and I would pick up a copy of the USA Today and go right to the sports page and see what did Michael Jordan do the night before? How many rebounds did Horace Grant have? You guys remember, you probably remember John Paxson. I could identify with him because he was the least talented. I did try out for the basketball team 3 years in a row at Meadow Creek High School. And guess what? I got cut 3 years in a row from Meadow Creek High School. So basketball was clearly not my outlet. But this whole introverted lifestyle, this obsession with basketball, it served me pretty well all throughout my adolescent years. Until one day, this introverted lifestyle finally caught up with me in geography class. I had to do a presentation on the country of Colombia. And I remember to this day, the night before, I prepared this really awesome posters with all these statistics and cool things about Colombia. And I practiced it about a dozen times. And I thought I was ready. I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and do this presentation. Now, something happened on the day of the event, right? I remember I got up in front of the class, I set up my poster, and something strange happened. As soon as I looked at the audience, I felt this. I couldn't say a word. I couldn't say, hello. I couldn't say, my name is Ariel, or, this is Colombia right here. Nothing. It was just deer headlights, crickets. He sits back down. And I sat back down right then and there at Meadow Creek High School. I was jaded, I was angry, my face was red. There was a girl that I had a crush on in the class, and that was instantly game over at that point. But I did something very important right then and there in the trailer at Meadow Creek High School with my heart thumping out of my chest. I made a decision. I really believe this saying that your decisions decide your destiny. That was certainly true in my life. So I made a decision that today I'm going to do something about this. I don't even know what that means right now, but I just made a decision that no one should feel this introverted and this afraid to speak to a group of people. So I said I'm going to do something about it. So later on that day, I wound up going to the public library because I had to follow through. And today I'm going to do something about it. So it was at that public library that I got introduced to my first mentor. And you probably heard of Tony Robbins before. There was a book called Awaken the Giant Within. And on the back of this book was Tony speaking to a live audience. And I thought to myself, this guy has no problem doing what I attempted to do in geography class today. So I took this book home with me and all these tapes called Personal Power. And I kid you not, for the next 8 hours, I just listened to these tapes. And I was reading Tony's book. And he was talking about things like, your mess becomes your message. You have an assignment, that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can also achieve. And, for me, this was all brand new food for thought. No one has ever told me that before. And so the moment of truth came right then and there at that Tony Robbins, while I was reading Tony Robbins material and listening to his tapes, when he made an invitation for anyone that was listening to join him at an upcoming event called Unleash the Power Within. It was a 3-day event with Tony Robbins. And here I am at the age of 17. I don't have a lot of money. It's definitely taken me out of my comfort zone, emotionally. But I said, you know what? This is my moment of truth. This is it, Ariel. You're either going to step up. You said today you're going to do something about it, or you're not going to step up. And so I actually did. I stepped up. And the reason I tell you this, it's because at that Tony Robbins seminar, my life's purpose was unveiled. So Tony kept asking us questions like, what's your why? What's your purpose? What's your assignment here on earth? And for me, it became glaringly obvious that the one thing that I'm supposed to do is to be a champion for the very thing that I fear the most, which was public speaking. So I decided right then and there at that Tony Robbins seminar that I was going to become a public speaking coach, even though I could not say a word in front of a live audience. Now, fast forward, many years have passed since then. And, the journey was not easy, but I got to tell you that right now where we are, as we approach 2016, we got a chance to coach hundreds of professionals from all kinds of industries, places like IBM or Hilti or AJC or the GEMC, just to name a few. And I got a chance to do that because I made one simple decision. I said, today I'm going to do something about it. So the first step to becoming a great public speaker, or to becoming your best public speaker, because you should never compare yourself, because everyone has their own unique advantages, but also everyone has their own unique challenges. But the first step is to simply decide, say, today I'm going to do something about this. Decide that you're going to become a good public speaker. Well, I'm glad that you made the decision to join this particular training here, because what I'm going to show you here is going to be very different than any other training on this topic. I'm willing to bet that's true. The reason is because I was someone that was searching throughout all these years as I'm developing my company and developing myself. I searched. I joined Toastmasters, and I've given my CC certification, which is where you give your 10 speeches. After that, you get certified. I've also coached, I was an assistant class coach for Dale Carnegie and back in 2011. And I got to tell you, all of this training was great, but for me, it wasn't enough. I needed to be equipped to do my own seminars, my own half-day workshops, my own 3-day events, video content, kind of like we're doing right here. And I didn't think that the training that was offered in some of the structured programs that I've participated was enough to equip me on my journey. So the biggest secret for me was to actually work with mentors. Currently, I have 5 mentors in my life, and these are all mentors that all they do is public speaking. Different topics, but this is how they earn their living. And a couple of those are past the $1 million level. And I don't say that to impress you, but just to impress upon you that the things that I'm going to bring to you are going to be unique and hopefully refreshing, but more importantly, they're very, very effective and proven. At this point, I have so many great reviews on our meetup site or our regular site at atlpublicspeaking.com, and I've gotten a chance to really put my mouth where, or my training where my mouth is, so to speak, and I've gotten some really good results with a lot of different students, like I said, from various different backgrounds, different companies, different industries. And the 2 things that we always score really well on is, number 1, did the program give you the ability to speak from the heart without overthinking it, without being self-conscious? And an astounding 94% say yes, it did. And then the second thing is, as a result of the program or the training that's provided by Atlanta Public Speaking, are you able to make more money, or did you increase your revenue somehow? And again, people answer very high on that particular question as well. So with that said, there's going to be a couple of different things that I'm going to teach you here. The very first part that we're going to learn is how to create your very own master talk. Because what I teach all of my students in the live classes, it's the same content that I'm going to bring to you right now. So this is going to help you, I hope, to get rid of that public speaking fear, but also to help put some extra dollars in your pocket and maybe up-level your current financial situation. So again, what we have to do first is to create our very own master talk. That's going to be the purpose of this particular module. Okay? Now, this is actually a very useful approach to public speaking, because a lot of people write out their presentations. I don't want you to be one of those persons. That's how I used to do it, and it just doesn't work. You got to be able to speak from the heart. You got to connect with the audience. You can't do that if you're thinking about the words that are going to come out of your mouth. Okay? So here's how we're going to do this. You're going to need a couple of tools. They're very simple tools, but it's very important that you get these tools, or else you're not going to get the most out of this training. So go ahead and just press pause on this video and grab yourself a clean sheet of paper, front and back, and a pen or a pencil. So go ahead and grab that now. Okay, so I trust that you got your tools and you're ready to rock and roll. So here's what we're going to do. The first thing is I'm going to teach you the world famous, it's famous in my world, the world famous bubble map, where you can create content for speeches, for presentations, even works for wedding toasts, for team meetings, for company functions in as little as half an hour. And the good thing is that it's very visual. So we're going to create this. Now, it takes 3 T's to create this bubble map. 3 T's, okay? Number 1, you have your title, Number 2, you have your T-bar. I'm going to explain all this. And number 3, putting it all together. So 3 T's. Now we're going to go step by step together. And I apologize if there's a little glare. I did my best to light this little conference room here. But the whole message here is that go for good enough. It's all about progression, not about perfection. I want you to apply that as well when you're going out there giving your own presentations. Don't try to be perfect out there. Just go out there and do it. Fail forward if you have to. But anyways, I hope that this is not too much of a deterrence for you and you can kind of keep up here. So again, title, T-bar, and together. We're going to go in order. The first T to creating an effective bubble map is going to be our title. And this is the way I want you to approach this. You should have your sheet of paper by now, I hope, okay? So this is going to be our front side, the front side of the paper, and this is going to be our back side, okay? The only thing you should have right now is simply a blank sheet of paper and a pen. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a title box right there on the front. And what I want you to think about is I want you to think about an actual talk that you could give. And this should be a 30-minute talk just to start off with. So a 30-minute talk that you could give, it would be real life for you. It would be something that's relevant in your world. So think about, what could I talk about? And then create a title for that 30-minute talk that, again, you're passionate about. Now, this could also be work related. Maybe you want to give a presentation at one of your, for a function or for a quarterly meeting. Or maybe you have a great idea that's going to help with process improvements at your organization. Or maybe you have a great idea that's going to help with revenue at your company. So you can make it about your company, or if you're a full-time entrepreneur, you probably want to talk about your business. Or if you don't know what you're passionate about yet, and you don't really want to talk about work, then the very important thing for you to do is to discover your passion. And that usually lies in a couple of different directions. Number one, for me, it was very much where my test became my testimony, right? So it started off with the messy part. So something that maybe something that was a challenge for you, a struggle for you, that could turn out to be the very thing that you are passionate about. So think about, what is it that I could talk about? Create that title. Some ideas, right? For me, my title is From Stage Fright to Spotlight. So I have this 30-minute talk that I give myself. Again, everything that I do here, I've tested it and it absolutely works, or else I would not bring it to you. So from stage fright to spotlight, just a couple of tips on titles. You want to create, if at all possible, a title that identifies the problem and the solution right then and there in the title. So from stage fright, that's the problem, stage fright, but to spotlight, that's the solution. So it doesn't have to be like that. That's more of an advanced tactic, but if you can, try to identify the problem and the solution in the title. So again, there's 3 T's to creating an effective bubble map, and now we've just finished our first T, because I want you to go ahead and create a box there and then just fill in your title, okay? Now think also, what audience would benefit from this talk, right? So really ask yourself, who would benefit? Would it be a group of college students, a group of entrepreneurs? Would it be the C-level executives at your organization? I don't know what it is for you, but I want you to make this as real life as possible. Make it relevant. Okay, moving right along. So we've created the first T, which is the title. The very next thing that we're going to do is create a T-bar, okay? Now, I'm going to explain what this means, but I just want you to create this T-bar, and I want you to write the words tables equals points, on the left side of the T-bar, and then on the right side of the T-bar, write the words legs equals evidence. I'm going to explain exactly what we're doing here, but we're working on the second T of creating an effective bubble map, which is the T-bar. Okay? So, in this particular talk, if you were to talk about that particular topic, what might be some points that you could make in this presentation? And what I want you to do is I want you to write them down right over here. Okay? Just brainstorm all the possible points that you could make in this presentation. So for instance, the title is From Stage Fright to Spotlight. I might go ahead and talk about why we fear public speaking. I might talk about how to monetize your speaking, right? Monetize. I might talk about the mental blocks that are associated with giving a presentation. So I'll put over here mental blocks. Maybe I want to talk about how to deliver like a pro, right? So I'm going to put that in there. So delivery, right? I think you get the point, but what I want you to do right now is just to brain dump a couple of different points that you could make in this presentation. Don't worry about, am I going to use these points or not? Don't try to be a perfectionist. Just go ahead and jot them down. And I want you to actually hit pause as you're doing this to make it very interactive. So go ahead and do that now. Okay, so I trust that you've identified a series of different points that you could make in this presentation. And now what I want you to do is, we're still in the T-bar, still in the second step right now. And what I want you to do is to go ahead and circle the top 3 that you're gonna use. So for instance, mine could be, why we fear public speaking. It could be the mental blocks, and then how to deliver like a pro. Those would be my 3 points. And then I want you to go ahead and put a number in the order that you're going to deliver them. So I might talk about, first I'll talk about why we fear, then I'll talk about the mental blocks, and then finally I'll talk about delivering like a pro. Okay? And with that said, we're ready to move on. And again, hit the pause button as you need, because I really want you to get a really awesome gift at the end of this training, which is that you're able to have a customized master talk that you can go out there, and in the second part of the training, the second video, I'm going to teach you where to give this particular talk. But right now, we're just using 3 particular T's to create an effective bubble map. So again, why, mental blocks, delivery, those are my particular points, okay? Now, the very next thing I want to do is I want to identify the list of potential pieces of evidence or legs. Again, I'm going to explain the metaphor, tables, legs in just a second. But I just want you to write down all the possible evidence pieces that could support your particular points, right? So some examples might be questions, maybe a personal story, perhaps observational story. And I'm going to give some examples in just a second. Maybe a statistic, perhaps an analogy, a statement, a visual, a joke, a quote, and the list goes on and on and on. I'm not going to really go in depth into all of these, but let me just give you a couple of examples, right? And I'm going to do that right after I explain the whole table legs metaphor, okay? Now, why do I write tables equals points and legs equals evidence? Well, this is the way I want you to think about it. Imagine that you're seeing a table, right? Most tables have how many legs? 4 legs, right? So what would happen if, one of the legs gets cut off and now the table is only on 3 legs? The question is, would that table still stand on 3 legs? The answer is yes, it would. It depends. I mean, it's not going to be as stable, but it's still going to stand. Now what about if you cut off the second leg and now it's only 2 legs? Well, it depends which 2 legs, right? So the whole idea is that you want to have 4 pieces of evidence to support each point. And now if you're speaking from the heart and you forget one of those points, like you forget one of those pieces of evidence, you forget one of the legs, guess what? It doesn't matter. Your table is still going to stand on 3 legs. Okay, so I'm going to explain exactly how this is all going to come together in just a second. But all I want you to do right now is to go ahead and think about, okay, what are the different points that I would make? Okay, I got those down. I got the order, 1, 2, 3. And then don't worry too much about what the legs are yet. I'm going to give you some examples, but here's what we want to do. Go ahead and turn back to the front side of the paper. Okay, I'd go ahead and draw a little bubble right here, and that's going to be your opener bubble. Okay, so you can write the word opener right there, and then put a little L by it. Okay, because you're going to use one of the legs to start off your presentation. I'll give you examples in just a second. After you draw the opener bubble, very next thing you want to do is draw another bubble that says preview. Now you'll notice that I actually wrote the word preview right inside the bubble because the preview always stays the same. So does the background, which is going to be our next table, right? I mean our next bubble right there, and that's going to be our background. Okay, after that we have table 1. So you can write that in, table 1, and then you'll have 4 legs to support table 1. You want to do the same thing for table 2, table 3, and so on and so forth. So go ahead and just write that in. Leave the bubbles blank right now. Okay? Write that in right there. We got 3 tables. Each has 4 legs. I'll explain how this works. Then we just have 2 more bubbles to go. We have another bubble that says review. And then finally we have close. This is going to be our closing bubble. So just write the word close right above it. All right, so here's what we might do. Okay, first of all, we want to start off with one of the legs. Word of caution. This is going to be the first thing that comes out of your mouth. Right after the meeting planner introduces you. And here's Ariel to talk about Colombia. I wish I had a chance to redo that one someday. But so the first words that come out of your mouth is you shoot right into your opener, that opening leg. So for me, let's just say that I chose questions as my leg, my opening leg, right? All I'm going to do is write a couple of question marks into that opening bubble. The critical rule is no more than 3 words for every bubble. No more than 3 words. 1 to 2, maybe 3 words, but no more than 3. So questions, make them as visual as possible, right? All your bubbles, make them visual. Think like the GPS. The GPS does not write 85 north. No, it just shows you a blue picture of 85. It says go that direction, and you get it. Our minds think in terms of pictures as well. So here's how we might make this happen. The opener, I decided to choose a series of questions. The preview is nothing more but stating what are the tables that I'm going to talk about. Okay, so you can actually fill that in. If the first thing I'm going to talk about is why we fear public speaking, I'm going to put that in. Again, no more than 3 words. I'll just put why fear. Your mind will know. Trust me, you'll see how elegantly this works in just a second. The second table might be it's going to be mental blocks. So I write that in. Then we have deliver like a pro. We write that in as well. Deliver pro. Just a couple words to get me thinking. And then again, the preview and the background usually stays the same. It depends what audience you give it to, but usually 90% of the time it stays the same. So here's how this might work. I start off the questions. How many people here would love to become better presenters by the time we finish our session today? Let me see you. Very good. And how many people here understand that communication works for those that work hard at it? Let me hear say aye. Excellent. Awesome. I just did my opener, by the way. Well, I'm excited about what we're going to learn today, because today we're going to find out exactly how to become better presenters in less than 30 minutes. Specifically, we're going to find out why we fear public speaking in the first place. We're also going to talk about what are the mental blocks. Everybody go like this. Say mental blocks. You control me no longer. And then we're also going to figure out how to deliver like a pro. Like a what? Like a pro. But before we do that, that was the preview right there, just stating the tables. Before we do that, would it be okay if I just tell you guys a little bit about myself so you can get a better understanding of, why should you listen to me on this topic in the first place? Would that be okay with everybody? All right, great. So my name is Ariel Ginga. So I hope you could kind of see what I did there, right? I start off with one of the legs, and I chose questions, right? Then I went to the preview. Preview is nothing more but stating what are the points or what are the tables. And then you go to the background, which just talks about your background. Just think Facebook timeline when it comes to background. You want to include in the background some challenges as well, right? Like I told you a little bit about, I was 17 years old. I couldn't say a word. I came from a communist country. So I told you about some challenges, but also some credibility in the background. Include that as well. So today we had the good fortune of coaching, many professionals from companies that you may recognize, places like IBM, Hilti, or Georgia Tech, et cetera, et cetera. Now you may say, well, Ariel, I don't have that background. I haven't coached anybody from well-known companies. That's okay. You got to start somewhere. So, think about what is it that, maybe you read countless books on a topic, or perhaps, you went to numerous workshops, or maybe you're the person that you're just good at certain things and people will tell you, man, you always seem to help me out after a relationship. You kind of patch things up. So that could be a clue that you already have more credibility than you already realize, right? So what you want to do, we're going to move right along here, but what you want to do is just choose one of the opening legs, start with that, go into your preview, which is nothing more but state what the tables are. Don't go into the legs that support the tables, and then go into the background. Now all this should take about 5 minutes. Then you go into your content. In a 30-minute talk, that should be about 15 minutes. And then the close is a little more elaborate. That's 10 minutes. But the basic close, which I just showed you right here, today I'm just going to leave you with the quote, is nothing more but choosing one of the legs and then ending with that, right? So I think you kind of get the idea, you get the gist. Feel free to review this as many times as you want. But again, just to recap right here, what we did is we started one of the legs, we went to the preview, went to the background, then we started teaching all of our content. You got many different legs right here. Like, let's just say, I wanted to just develop my first table right there. So I might go ahead and put in a statistic right there. All I got to do is choose 4 legs, drag and drop. I might include a personal story right there. So you'll notice that I selected questions for my opener, but what if I would have selected a personal story? I might say something like, it was 2009. I found myself at a crossroads in my career. I remember overlooking the golf course in Atlantic Station. I was writing in my journal, and I had to make a decision right then and there. And that's my kickoff into a personal story, and literally right after that, I'll go into my preview. Well, today we're here to talk about XYZ, right? But before we do that, let me tell you guys a little bit more about, why should you listen to me on this topic? It might be an observational story. Last night I was watching Anderson Cooper, and he had a very interesting guest on. And they were talking about, and that's your kickoff into your observational story. Something that didn't happen to you, but you observed it somewhere, on TV, in a book, just something that you observed, right? I think you get the point here. So now you have a basic understanding of the bubble map. Now this is a very basic version. In our advanced training, we have a more complicated, more advanced version, And that's designed for people that maybe you have to make an offer from the stage. So you want to persuade the right people to take some kind of action. And there's a couple of things that we do differently for a persuasive bubble map. So now let's talk just a little bit about delivery, okay? Now we're just going to touch on this at a very high level here. There's 15 components of effective public speaking. And right now what I'm going to do is just show you 3 of them that'll get you on your way, and you could literally implement these components as early as your next presentation, and I'm willing to bet that it's going to turn out a lot different than it normally does. So follow along. The first component that I'm going to talk about is voice, the voice triangle. Okay, got the voice. Now I want you to think about 3 different voices. You want to talk in the high voice, in the medium voice, but also in the low voice. Okay, so the high voice, that's your preacher voice, your seminar leader voice. Today I'm here to inspire you, to really get you going, right? So you just want to go in that high voice. But also, of course, you're going to bring it down to a more conversational level, more instructional level, right? But also, have you ever noticed how maybe somebody made you mad? You're like, how could you do this to me? We've been best friends since the age of 13. How could you burn me like that? And what happens to your voice? It actually goes down, right? So the idea when you're giving a presentation is that you want to speak in 3 different voices. Obviously, in this video presentation, I'm mostly in that medium voice right there. But, if you see me do a live presentation, I'm going to tap into all 3 of those. So I want you to go ahead and implement the voice triangle into your presentation and just speak in 3 different voices. Well, when should I do the high voice? When should I do the medium? When should I do the low? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. As long as you put them in there. Just think of, like Dr. Dre, the needle, the tempo is always up and down. It's unpredictable. So go ahead and just use that vocal variety so that you're not predictable in your presentation. Okay? So that's the voice triangle. The very next triangle that I'm going to draw here is the stage triangle. The stage triangle. So the stage triangle is very important. Now you'll notice that we make everything very easy to remember. So we got the voice triangle and then the stage triangle. So that way your mind's going to think, okay, triangle, I got it. There's an association there. That's why the bubble maps, we made them very visual. Everything that we teach, we make them in such a way to where you can implement the information right away to start getting the results. So the stage triangle is something like this. Think about your audience right here. This is the stage. As you're presenting, you want to present from 3 different points of the stage. So this is the stage right here. Let me give you an example. So if I'm presenting, right? I'm talking and I'm like, well, how many people here would love to become better presenters by the time we finish our session today, right? So I'm just going to start my presentation. I'm going to go into that particular point. Now you'll notice that I could stay in this point right here and I can pivot and talk to that side of the room and talk to this side of the room and talk to that side of the room. But also I'm walking and I'm talking. Obviously there's a camera here, so I'm limiting myself, right? This is not a big stage, but you can kind of get the idea. I'm going into this point. I can still pivot and approach the whole audience. I'm walking, I'm talking, I'm freezing right here into another point, just kind of setting my feet and planting my feet and going into my next point. But then also you're going to work the other point as well, right? So the whole idea is that as you're talking, you want to be walking and talking, walking and talking, walking and talking. That doesn't mean you're going to pace back and forth, but you're just simply going to find those moments to plant yourself in that point and then address the whole side of the room, right? And as you're talking, you notice that right now I'm moving to my other point, right? Now, of course, as I'm continuing the presentation, I move to the center point. And of course, we don't want to forget about that side of the room as well. So I think you get the point. Stage triangle. Speak in 3 different points on the stage, and just as a general rule, work the whole stage. That's really what I'm trying to say here. And then the last component that we're going to talk about is something that we call CP. Okay, so CP, it does not stand for California Pizza Kitchen. It actually stands for crowd participation. So I'm just going to give you a couple of quick tools that you can use to get the audience engaged into your presentation. The first one is, so this is CP. It's the third component of effective public speaking. Now again, in our advanced training, we got 15 of these, and we walk you through all of them. But CP, the first thing that you want to think about is questions. Questions hook the mind. So ask a lot of questions. Ask a lot of questions. Say, does everybody follow? Are you guys with me? Everybody on board? Are you guys willing? Does that make sense? You know, so constantly ask the audience questions throughout your presentation. Just constant check-ins. Get that feedback from them. Okay? Questions. Another one is get them to move. Get them to move. So get the audience to physically move from their chair, right? Or in their chair, but like a physical movement. So everybody go ahead and put your hand on your heart. Turn to your neighbor. Give them a high five. Say, I'm in the right room this morning, right? Everybody stand up. It's time to make a promise. Clap twice if that makes sense. It doesn't matter, like whatever it is, but get the audience to physically move. All right, I think you're getting it. Another one that we can do is to get the audience to repeat. So get them to repeat. Today we're going to have an amazing time learning about one of my favorite topics, public speaking. What kind of time, everybody? Amazing time, right? So get the audience to repeat. Another good one is to let the audience fill in the blank. Fill in the blank. So you start a sentence, but let the audience complete it. 85% of success is just one thing. It's just somebody showing up. Thank you. So somebody from the audience will plug something in. It doesn't matter if it's the right answer, the wrong answer, just to get that engagement. That's the whole point of these, and to make it fun. If you think about, your favorite teachers, they all did that. You were always involved in the presentation. So you don't want to talk at the people. You want to become your message. You are part of the message. The messenger becomes part of the message. And the way to do that is to get the audience to be involved in your presentation. So make it very interactive. So can you see how this lesson right here that we just went through is going to eradicate a lot of your public speaking anxiety? You might not be able to tell right now, but wait until you have to do your next presentation and you'll see how well this bubble map works, across the board. See, the biggest reason that people say that they're afraid of public speaking is because they say things like, I'm afraid that I'm going to forget what I'm going to say, or I might, talk in circles, and I don't want that to happen. So it's something related to some mental block that they have. It's usually related to the content that they're going to present. Well, by having the bubble map, that's diminished. You don't have to worry about what you're going to say or in what order you're going to say it, because the tables are in order. You have a couple of different legs to support that table as evidence pieces. So you're going to be free to just speak from the heart. It's going to be a game changer. I can't wait until you do your next presentation. Send me an email. Let me know exactly how it went for you. But I have so many good reviews after people have implemented this bubble map, and it just works tremendously. And like I said, I personally use it myself for all the live presentations that I do. And the second part of overcoming that public speaking fear is the delivery techniques that we showed you. You're going to be more afraid if you just stand in one place. But if you have that voice, the stage triangle, you're walking and talking, it's going to allow your body to get into it, and that heartbeat, it goes from into a feeling of excitement, right? But if you just stand in one place, it's not gonna happen. Or if you speak in a low voice, that's not gonna happen. So you want to speak in the 3 different voices. You want to work the stage. You want to get the audience involved. If you start doing that and you have the bubble map there to fuel your content, your public speaking fear is going to be very, very low. Okay, I'm not going to say it's completely going to be gone, but you're on your way to public speaking mastery. The only thing that's going to make it get better and better is by you being out there speaking over and over again. Brian Tracy said that the best way to overcome your public speaking fear is to go out there and speak, and speak. And that's going to be our next video lesson, where we show you exactly how to get booked as a speaker. We show you how to start your own seminars, your own events, how to structure them, how to set them up. So I'm really, really excited about bringing the next lesson to you, which is going to be how to get booked as a speaker. Thank you for participating in the first video training. If you like this training, go ahead and put a comment down below. I look forward to seeing you in the next video lesson.